Welcome to another episode of the Journey to Gold Zone podcast. I'm here with a very special guest, Krissy Gear, who just won the USATF One Mile Championship. This is kind of a post-race breakdown and whatever else we get to. So, Krissy, awesome job tonight.
Thank you so much.
I know you probably haven't eaten yet, so we'll try to, not be too long. But did you know coming in that you were that fit and ready to go?
No. But I feel like most people don't.
Yeah.
I was hoping for the best. It's like, okay, best case scenario, because you don't know where anyone else is at, and I feel like sometimes you do have to be a little delusional and be like, no, I stand a chance, and it's like, on paper, let's be honest, like, going up against a lot of the women in the field, like, I wouldn't have picked me to win, but it's like, you kind of have to throw the paper out and be like, it could be anyone's day, like, so I was definitely gonna give myself the best chance to win, and if I came up short, I came up short,
I've had a lot of different athletes here, and I usually tell them, do not be on the inside on the turn. And I'll be honest, when I was watching the video and you were on the inside on that first turn, I'm like, she didn't set up right. I was like, and I watched you go back, come out to the side, and I'm like, Krissy, you didn't set up well on that first turn. And then the second turn, you were on the outside, you set it up, and I was like, but did she lose too much? And then you came roaring down that finish like a beast. That was amazing. So tell me about, did you know that maybe I shouldn't have been where I was? Take us through those turns.
I'm not gonna lie. When we were approaching that first turn and I realized how far in I was like, oh, I didn't want to take this too tight, but I didn't. You're right. I said I didn't set it up properly. And then I was like, okay, just keep your foot down. Like, don't lose momentum, just like hold steady. Mm-hmm. And then I tried to go a little bit, like kind of balance, like, okay, taking the tangents, but also going wide enough to you're not losing your momentum. And it's roughly 600 from like, the end to the finish. Yep. And so I was like, even if I did this momentum there, I'm like, I have time to wind it up. It's not like, oh, the finish line is 30 seconds away. So from there, it was just like, okay, like just let it rip, like get those arms pumping, like get as much power out of the ground in yourself as you can. But I kind of told myself going in like that little straight, like for like 30 seconds, I was like, that's your break. And so I was like, okay, when I did feel my momentum like actually break, I was like, that's okay. You're taking a break and you'll wind it up. Like you have time to wind it up. So, I didn't plan it out very well, but I think it worked out in my favor.
I mean so some people can't wind it up as well as you can. So I think some people who left it a little bit later were not in the position of you, but you have this lethal kick that people should be aware of, but I think some people were not maybe thinking about it. But it's been fun to watch your kick. So did you have confidence in the kick that you knew that you could do that, or was there any little hesitation?
It's like hard because like I do think I'm a pretty good kicker, but it's like, oh, well, so is half that field of women, so it's probably the whole field of women. So it's just like trying to balance, like, if I felt like they were not really hot. And so it's like, okay, let them go, but don't let them go too much, And so I was just really hoping that I had more to give at the line, mm-hmm. and like that their legs were kind of run out from underneath them, but I didn't know. So like when I made the hard move of like, okay, you have to go now, like, I knew that, like, I wasn't going to go by them. They were going to go, oh, no, I'm getting second. I was like, those women are going to rally, like, and they're going to rally hard. And so I was just, like, trying to put my arms as hard as I could, because I was like, yeah, they all have a good kick. And so, like, I wasn't totally confident that someone was, going to come back and, like, re-kick me. So fortunately, I was able to hold them off, but
I like it. So on the track, it's easy to be like, I'm going to go with 300, I'm going to go with 200, and you know where those marks are. Did you come out and look at the course and say, okay, here's where I'm going to go, here's where I'm not going to go? Did you have that idea in your head, or?
Yeah, I think I don't know where the bridges are, but I think this, like, so that when you first go out, there's a bridge overhead, and I was like, don't fall off like until you get to that bridge, because I kind of had a feeling people were going to go out hot, and I was going to be like, no, this feels too hot, and like go to the back. I'm like, don't go to the back, like hold steady to the bridge, and then I was like, from bridge to, or on the turn, second bridge, I was like, don't lose ground. And so that was like it's going to be hard here, but like be honest with yourself. And when your brain's like, you have to give up, then it's like, be honest, like, do you actually have to? I'm like, no, And so by the time I got to like the last bridge, I'm pretty sure it's roughly 400 to go. And so I was like, just get to that bridge within like, you know, striking distance. And then I was just trying to just let it go once I got to that bridge. So those were kind of my key points. Yeah, I don't know
I
what
love it.
the
I
marks
love it.
were, but
That notes. And what I loved is you said you had this conversation in your head about, am I hurting? Am I not hurting? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that the pros have the same thoughts as everybody else, right? Like it's, that thought is always going to come there. So do you have any go-to sayings? Do you have anything that like you kind of fight that, you know, those dark spirals?
yeah, just telling myself like to be honest with myself, because there are, I feel like a lot of time I'm like, oh, I'm hurting. And it's like, oh yeah, you're hurting. It means you have to stop. And it's like, okay, like, is it to the point where it's like your legs are literally burning and gonna fall off and like you do have to pull back? Or is it like, hey, this is uncomfortable, but you're strong enough to run through that uncomfortability? I'm like, okay, yeah, like I don't actually have to drop out, like I can keep going. And so I try to just like honest, like check in with myself. I'm like, are you going into panic mode? Like, if you don't need to. And I kind of realized I was. And so when I catch that, I'm like, no, I actually can keep going. It's just gonna be hard, you know. Then it's, you start the positive self-talk. It's like, hey, you are strong. Like you put in the work. Like, yeah, whatever you have to tell yourself to kind of to calm down a little bit.
Okay. And so prior to these races, are there go-to workouts that you do to give you confidence, that you think back on and it's like, I did that workout. I can do this today?
Not really.
Okay.
I think the closest I come to it is, I'm sure you spent your time at altitude, you know, and it's just like the legs burn. And so when I'm in those moments in altitude, I try to tell myself like, this is going to hurt worse than it will at sea level. And so I'm like, when it does start to feel like this, like, oh, you've already been here, you know?
Yeah.
I remember doing before my first road mile 2 years ago, doing a couple 300s and just like, yeah, going full lactic. And I think I was running like 50s, you know, so I wasn't like going crazy fast, but I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is how the end's going to feel. And then I ran that first road mile and it never felt that hard as like it did, like, you know, just like being up with no oxygen. So I feel like just kind of remind myself is like, it doesn't get worse than going lactic at sea level or at altitude.
Not really.
No. you can't come back from it.
You're not
like,
coming back from it. Once you're just done. You're like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Oh my gosh. So with altitude, how long do you stay up? What's your kind of come down window from altitude?
I don't really have one.
Okay.
Like, I got in last night or yesterday afternoon, you know, but then like, you know, go back to the Olympic trials back in July or in June. I probably got there close to a week before my race. And I knew that a lot of the people in my event were going to get there later, but I wanted to travel with like my teammates because they were in the 5K. And so I was like, I want to travel with them and I want to cheer them on in 5K. So I feel like there's not really a methodical decision. It's just like whatever makes sense for scheduling. Yeah.
Okay. That works. I like it. So what right now are you training for? What's next? What's the rest of your season look like? 'Cause I know we're just beginning. It's going to be a long year.
Yeah. So I'll do the mile. I don't know. I kind of want to ask this to be switched to the 8 if it's not too late. It probably might be too late. But so I'll do a race on the track this Saturday and then steeple at Sound Running end of May. And then early June, I'll do another mile on the track in St. Louis.
Okay.
And that's all that I have on my schedule at the moment. Okay. I would like to have something else prior to USA's, but we're keeping it open. Okay. Fingers crossed, Grand Slam track. You know, I hope they call me up. But
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I know that watching it's been just amazing what they've done.
And my sister graduates from Boca Raton, or from FAU in Boca Raton next weekend, so I'm going down for graduation, and it's like right by Miami. So I'm like, oh, like she graduates, I think Saturday morning, and so I was like, I can go over and like watch the track meet the other days.
You should have your agent put that in just in case there's someone that pulls out at the last minute.
Ooh, well, I was probably gonna make it like a little vacation weekend and like not run.
Vacation
but
weekend, but money. It's good money. You could go on 2 vacations with that money.
That's true. Oh, okay.
Just saying, if you're gonna be close,
I might think about it.
If you're gonna be close,
yeah.
I would just throw it out.
And like, hey, I'm here.
Right, but you're like, hey, Vinny, last minute, totally fine.
Yeah.
Just saying. I don't know. You never know.
Either way, I'll be there as a spectator.
Either way, that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. So, what are you gonna race at nationals?
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like options.
I mean, most likely it'll be the steeplechase. I feel like I said this last year. I was like, oh, like I'll run one steeple and then I'll make my determination, and then last year, 2 years ago,
yeah.
and then it worked out well for me. So now I'm like, I don't know, could be the mile, could be the steeple, and it's like, you know it's probably going to steeple. I'm like, yeah, I know it's probably going to steeple, you know. But yeah, we'll see.
I like it. So where can people find you, or is there any shout outs you want to do?
I'm not really active
Okay, that's
on
totally
Instagram,
fine.
but if I like one the most, yeah, I feel like I'm just Krissy Gear 13. You're not going to get anything exciting. Yeah, if I had to shout anyone out, it'd definitely be my friend Hayden and Harrison, who I got to hang out with today. My friend Hayden also coaches me. And so it's been really awesome working with him. And then, obviously, my family. You always have to shout the family out, you know. Shout Hoka out and shout my boyfriend Michael out. He's watching my dog, so,
Aw,
yeah.
I like it. Very cool. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And making a U.S. team, and we will hopefully see you on more things and more teams in the future.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Krissy. I'm with a very special guest, Vince Ciatti, who just won the USATF One Mile Championship. So welcome and congrats.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah. So,
I mean, 3 in a row. Road mile champs. Well,
3 out of the last 4.
3 out of the last 4.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
but I will take 3 of
Okay.
anything.
All right, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I like
First, I think definitely haven't run 3 of anything as a pro. So for it to be a U.S. championship it's not a bad place to be with that. So yeah.
Knowing that you've won 2 other times, did you come in feeling like you had a target on your back, or did you feel any extra pressure, or you were just like, I'm just gonna see what I got?
I think I did a really, me and like the, coach, like physio teammate. I feel like, yeah, I knew I had like some expectation there, like some quiet expectation, but I feel like we channeled it like the right way.
Okay.
Like I feel like I channeled it into confidence. I think I like learned a few lessons from, I didn't have the best indoor season. Like in the indoor season, I think I did feel more weight of expectation, like just internally.
Yeah.
Coming off of, I had a really good year last year by my standards, but certainly the best of my career. And I think this race, like the success in the past, I think allowed me to channel that into confidence instead of like a weight of anxiety almost. So I feel like it was like much more positive, and I think that showed the way I competed today. So I was proud of that.
That's very cool. So you went into this, did you come and look at the course first? Because we changed it a little bit from the last time. So did you come and look at the turns and see the distance so that you knew, like, okay, it's not like the last time, but...
Yeah,
okay.
Honestly, it is crazy how, like, I've almost had a completely different mindset. Like, I feel like that maybe 200-meter shift in how long the last straightaway is, like, in years past, I'm like, okay, you're pretty close to like full guns blazing. Like once you come around the turn, this year's like, you got to be a little more patient. Like, I think it's helped that I have run a lot of road miles in my career. And like, I mean, for Sam to get like second in his debut that's really impressive, because I think measuring your effort on the course, like, I definitely drew on my experiences from past years, but yeah, I ran the course a few times beforehand and wanted to make sure that, like, I spread my butter the right way in the last 800. So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you've run a lot of road miles. As you know, the turns are definitely different because a lot of people want to be on the inside. What is your strategy on the turns?
Yeah, I think it's more about like not stressing about where you are.
Okay.
Like, I think as long as you like sort of are cognizant of like making sure your momentum comes off the turn well, like whether you're right on the inside, like it was me and Abe today were like side by side. So, even though he was on the inside, that was a good boost, like coming around the turn with like my teammate right next to me. I'm like, okay, we're in a good spot here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think just on the roads in general, like, I've started to translate it to the track, but I just feel like I really like run freely on the roads. I feel like I don't get caught up in splits, like the turns. You just sort of run. Like, you just sort of, it sounds pretty dumb and simple, but you just go out and just run to try to win. And it makes it like, I don't know, for me, sometimes slowing it down like that, making it simple, works. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So did you come in with places that you wanted to make moves, or were you just going to react to everybody else?
I think last year was a little bit different because like I wanted to like go after the time last year, and I was pretty close, and but I felt like I talked to Haas beforehand, and we said like we could run the race a similar way, and I think just where we're at in training, it makes sense to try to control things from the front and just respond. I felt like instead of thinking like, oh, I need to make a specific move right here, it's like, people will make moves, but if you're in the front, you can just answer them. So, and I felt like I knew like that I'm, pretty strong right now. And I felt like a way to capitalize on that would be make it like an honest enough race where like those moves would come and go, and I could sort of just like ride the waves of those moves. And the time ended up being pretty fast, like all things considered, like wasn't quite an American record like the women, but it's just funny because I had no concerns about the time. Like I know Blake won't want to hear that because he wants an American record and a
put
world
all those incentives in there for it too.
Yeah, it's hard when the American record's 3:51 from the bronze medalist. Like that's Yard really put a pretty good marker out there. So wasn't as concerned about the time, but it ended up being a fast time for a lot of guys today anyway. So
yeah, that was really good, and you controlled it, so that was really nice.
Yeah.
And you talked about Haas, you talked about Abe, two guys that I have a lot of history with. Haas was in Indiana for a long time, and then I coached Abe. So your group right now, the synergy of it is just crazy the last year that you guys have had. So tell me about like just how much fun it is to train, and when people are running that well, that means things have to be going well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Flagstaff in general, like it's it's no secret, like it's a great place to train. Like a lot of groups come, a lot of people come in for their camps and everything. But yeah, I really think our team is, I mean, we've filled it. It's a big team now, but we've got some really world-class people, like, I mean, at all levels. And, talk about like motivation, like Sharon winning Boston in a course record yesterday. Like if I wasn't already, and Abe and Casey and Angela, like if we weren't already amped up enough, like watching that is just unbelievable. So, and then, I mean, we have so much depth. Like it's, any workout, like if I'm not having my best day, I know that I have other guys that are going to tow me along. Like we're going to work together. If I'm having a good day, then I can be the one like, helping out from the front. And I think it's just, it's a really like positive group. Like I think we all want each other to succeed. Like I certainly want everyone else to succeed. And it's just like, especially like the way, our closely missing out on Paris, but like being able to see, I think it was 10 of my teammates like competing there, like, like watching my girlfriend Regan like in the stadium, like, like watching Neil and Ed, like it's amazing. Like, I mean, I think we had like 4th through 8th place in like separate events. So we've really come on strong. Haas has done a great job putting the group together and creating that environment. And I think we're really bought into it. And it's great to be a part of it. I feel really, really grateful that I've fallen into that at this point in my career, for sure.
Because I know there was a time when you were looking and trying to find that place that you fit in.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you a couple years ago. I don't know if it was pre-COVID or right after COVID, and I know you were struggling to find the place. So what convinced you that Flagstaff was that place?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it had to do with Neil and Fitz and Diego. Some of my Virginia Tech teammates were there. I had the agent connection with Haas already. I'd done training camps in Flagstaff and raced well coming off of them too, not just like had fun. There was obviously a very performance driven like mindset to it. I can give myself credit for recognizing what was being like built in that group.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like I've tried to be a part of that in some way. Like, it may not have been running in Paris, but today's like special too. Like, you know, like going Sharon Monday, like me, like 1% of that, like greatness, like the next day, like, you know, it's cool to feel like I'm contributing to that, you know, progression of the team. And yeah, I was not in the best spot, at least training wise, before I sort of found my feet in flag. So it's last year already proved that from a running perspective, it was the right move. But just life wise too, it's been good. So
You've definitely been on the upswing, and your entire team has been on the upswing. So what is next for you the rest of the year then?
Well, I'm staying here for Drake. So I'm excited about that. Like, last year was like so nice, weather-wise. I remember it was my first one, and I was like, I remember watching races from Drake where it's like 40 degrees and like
Sideways rain.
Yeah. Like, so I was like, I don't know. Maybe we'll see about this week.
Fingers crossed that you get 2 in a row. Like, oh, okay.
We'll see. But yeah, then I'll have another training block in Flagstaff, and then I'm gonna do the Rabat Diamond League, which
nice.
I'm very excited about. So never been to Africa before, and only done a couple Diamond Leagues. So it's pretty special to like, you know, be at that point in the career where like that's, you know, realistic for me to be doing. Like, it still feels special. But I think what we learned from the indoor season, like I did Milrose for the first time, didn't really have the best season, and I think jumping into those big races like is hard. Some people are really good at it. I don't think I am. So I think, you know, this was a big race for me, but I think it was easier to jump in with this race as the season opener and have Drake, you know, as the first track race, because I have some experience from last year, and you know, I know what to expect, and I can be confident about, you know, mixing it up for the win, and then, you know, take that into the big races, you know, instead of like hopping in straight away and just like hoping I'm ready. I feel like I've learned that that's not the way that I operate successfully. So, but I am looking forward to the big races, especially now that, like, you know, this is about as, I mean, I couldn't have asked for more from a season opener.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, and Haas has been kind of everywhere, so he knows what to expect. He knows how all the different races operate. So he's probably a very good resource to have on all those trips.
Yeah, I will say he did have our assistant coach Pat, like when I sat down in the meeting with them like preseason, Pat like was grilling Haas because when Pat was an athlete, Haas sent him in Blankenship to Rabat, and they like weren't confirmed in the race. So I don't think Haas is gonna make. I'm really hoping that I show up and they're like, yeah, you're in the race. Like, you didn't travel all this way to just do a workout
or sleep in the lobby, or, you know.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I mean, this was early. I'll give it a pass. This was earlier in Haas's agent career, so I think we're gonna be okay.
Oh yeah, I think he is done pretty well.
Yeah.
He's done reasonably. So what's after Rabat?
I think we're gonna be in Leuven for a little bit, which I really like. I think we're looking at, well, it's supposed to be Rome Diamond League, which, I mean, very, very cool. I mean, Rabat will also be awesome, but Rome is like, that's, I mean, even just getting on that warm up track will be worth the trip there. So,
nice.
But yeah, it's just, yeah, I mean, you can probably tell how, like, it's hard to like hide like the sort of runner nerd in me that's still very excited about these things. But I think also I have a much better like mindset about these races too. Like, I feel like looking forward, last year I was very like, you know, first Diamond Leagues, like I have to earn my place on the circuit. Like, I have to prove that I belong. And I was very like results oriented. So I'm looking forward to like actually taking in a bit more of the experience. Like, this time around, it's gratifying to know that what I've achieved last year and like what I'm hopefully going to achieve this year will, you know, will continue to have me in races of this caliber, because I do think that I can compete in them and belong. But I think it'll be good to have a little bit less like pressure. And I think today was like a good way to practice that, to not be so pressurized and just like enjoy the fact that this is a race that I'm good at. And I had my parents out here, which means the absolute world to me. And I had, teammates out here and coach and, great crowd. I want to enjoy those things. So these big races that I'm looking forward to, like, I'm excited about that component of it too, not just the racing. Yeah.
Well, I think a happy runner is a fast runner, and I
Yeah.
think going into a little bit more relaxed than that. So you are definitely exuding more happiness and more, even though I know you just won and that usually, but I think overall I've seen you this past year just be such a happier, more excited runner, and I think that's been exciting.
Thank
That's
you.
been fun for me to watch, to see that in you, and I love these experiences that you get to do, and I think as long as you continue to be excited about it, oh man, it's gonna be fun for you.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think it means, like, not that it means more to me than anyone else, but it means a lot because it's come like after, it didn't come straight out of college. Like, it took a while, like, had an injury, had to get used to the pro scene, had COVID, like, so for things that I thought I was capable of to be coming to fruition, like, maybe a little bit later than I wanted them to, but for them to happen is really like, it's a good feeling. Yeah.
Not that you're ready to move up at any time soon, because I don't want you to, but
Yeah.
in your career, do you see yourself doing more roads, longer roads? Craig said absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, I was like, the last person I interviewed was like, nope. But,
I did. I mean, I won't, it's not the best time in the world. I do actually have a half marathon on the books.
What?
I ran a trail half marathon back at home in Maryland.
Okay.
A couple years ago. I did run the US 5K. Got, rinsed, but like,
So,
I mean,
so you actually have a half marathon on the books, like, coming up, or that?
No,
you,
I'd run it. I'd run it. Yeah.
Okay, you've run it. All right. I was
I
like,
mean,
wait,
like,
what half marathon? Are you running?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that.
No worries. All right. That's
yeah.
good.
I mean, I will say, when I ran that road 5K,
Yep.
it was in New York in 2023 in the fall. I got to watch Sharon the next day run the marathon,
Yep.
and I never thought that I'd really want to jump that far up
Yeah.
in distance, and I don't think I'd run one competitively.
Okay.
But the atmosphere at those majors is I'd never seen one before, so that changed my mind pretty quickly about running at least one, just to
Check it off.
run around and enjoy that, because the atmosphere is just crazy.
It's
at
definitely
those.
different.
So yeah, I don't know that I'm built for running it competitively. I think I'm a pretty pure miler, but
Well,
we'll
what's your
see.
longest long run?
We'll go 16 miles, so it's
You're going
not.
past a half marathon.
I think I could finish a marathon. if that's the question, I think I could finish one for sure. Might be hard, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think I could
would-
easy run a marathon.
You could
Yeah.
easily run. Yeah, you could finish it very easily.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Any other domestic races between now and nationals?
I'm gonna I think I'm at least gonna do the international mile at pre, and
Okay.
and maybe if some of these early Diamond Leagues go well, then we can fight for a spot in Bowerman.
Okay.
So I am excited about that. I used to live in Eugene.
Yeah.
It's fun to race there in Hayward. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It's such a long year.
It's a long year.
So I think I'm excited about how today went. With, I think Haas and he's good at reminding hey, we sort of train the way we do for a reason. You can get amped up about race results sometimes, especially if they're not the way you want. But I think indoors we rode it out, and now we know that we're going to be in a good spot. It's still a long time away, USA's and hopefully a world team. So yeah, but it's exciting to be in the position of going into all these races already having like a hopeful world team like in the, like that just means so much to me. So yeah, it's a great start.
I know it is a great start, and it's only April.
Yeah, exactly. So long way to go.
Very long way to go. Is there anything, shout out, where can people find you on Instagram, on socials? What would you like to shout out and just give a word about today?
Sure. Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram, so it's just at Vincent Ciatti. Definitely want to shout out my parents for, they made the trip to Des Moines last year. They made the trip to the trials last year, which was, happy and sad sort of thing. But it was really, it's just so special to find them after the finish today. Like it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, I think I know I've got a lot of family and friends that are pretty happy about how today went, and they know what it means to me. So yeah, I'll shout all of them out. Like, I'll shout out Regan, I'll shout out my siblings and all my family and friends that are happy. I'm happy with them.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations. What an exciting day.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks,
yeah.
Vince. I like it. All right.